What's good? How y'all doing this evening?
Welcome to the FILA Sports Podcast. That's the Forever I Love Atlanta Sports Podcast. Hometown guys talking hometown sports. Hey, what's going on, fellas? Done working some things out, but we can still go ahead and get started. We have a special guest with us on today. When you come on our show, Kynan, we always let you introduce yourself. So most of the people. All right. Well, I have a treat for you guys. A former Falcon player, a former NFL player, a guy who can give us the real and tell us the real about playing in the NFL, a starter, an all-pro. Went to a Pro Bowl, didn't you, as well, Kenny? You went to a Pro Bowl, didn't you?
Alternate a couple years. Alternate. I should have been there, but hey, didn't happen. But it's all good.
Closer than the rest of us, hell. All right. So we can see you now. So I'm sorry. Can you let them know who you are, and you can also go ahead and let them know what you're doing now as well, and we'll touch back on it at the end of the show too.
Okay. What's up, Atlanta? What's up, fellas? It's Kynan Forney, offensive guard for the Atlanta Falcons. 7th-round draft pick in the 2001 draft class. Mike Vick was the number 1 overall. Algie Crumpler was the 2nd rounder. One of the historically best draft classes of the Atlanta Falcons. Started for 7 years. Atlanta Falcons all decade, NFC South all decade, all pro, couple more things, family man, community man, you know what I mean? I do a lot, man.
Renaissance man, huh? Renaissance man.
Yeah, I'm pretty universal. I'm also offensive line specialist at Dash Performance in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Man, I do a lot of things, man. I just try to help out kids and try to help them achieve their potential, try to give them some advice if they need it. Try to, I work part-time at a high school too, just mentoring kids, helping them, I'm all about self-empowerment with our youth, you know what I'm saying? Because I've been so blessed. So, why not try to be a blessing to other people?
Appreciate it. Well, I think we got everything fixed. One of my mods in the chat, y'all can hear me? All right. So, y'all already know. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this content out with other Atlanta sports fanatics, and hit us up in the comment section. As always,
come holla
at your hometown sports podcast. Sorry about the technical difficulties. It happens. We still trying to get back in the thick of things. I'm just gonna run down before we start hitting into the questions with Mr. Forney. We're gonna go ahead and talk about what happened around the city this week with the Georgia Swarm. The team traded Zed Williams and 2 second-round picks for a Colorado player, Dan Coates, and a first-round pick for the 2020 in the draft. They also traded Jason Noble to Toronto for 2 first-round picks for the 2020 entry draft. So, like the Swarms, racking up on those first-round picks to get some good players. The Gladiators, the hockey team, they signed Michael Pelch. He's one of the league's active leaders in games played, so he's a great veteran to the team. And elephant in the room, soccer was back yesterday. The match against the Red Bulls and United. We lost that match 1-0. A lot of people upset about it. Guys, it's the first game back. Chill out. Let's see how they play this week against Cincinnati. All right. No news with the Hawks or the Braves. We know the Braves play on the 24th next week. They'll be going up to New York to play the Mets. And that gets us to our topic for tonight. Special guest, Mr. Forney. We know he was on the all-decades team for the 2000s. But I'm going to be honest with y'all. Y'all already know when everybody knew back in 2000, Vic, my work done, TJ Duckett. But it was a lot of unsung heroes, especially on the offensive line, that he's one of these guys. And I tell y'all a lot of times that, hey, you win in the trenches. You ain't got a good offensive line or the good defensive line, you're not winning the championship. You're not winning any games. So we'll get back to that topic later on. So your playing days here in Atlanta, how was it, man?
It was a dream come true, man. I still look back on it, and I can't believe that, you know what I'm saying, I was a part of that, especially a part of that crop of players that come through. Because let's be honest, man, Mike Vick was one of the most exciting players of a generation when he came through. You know what I'm saying? If you had a chance to come to that Georgia Dome, you know what time it was during them 6-7 years. You know what I mean? Come on now. See the commercial on TV all the time. See him in the highlight reels all the time. I mean, you can go on YouTube and look up some of the old ESPN highlights, man. It was always something going on. You know what I mean? And it was just, you know, back then I was just kind of taking it like, man, it's football. I'm having fun. But I look back on it now and like, man, yo, that was that was really big in Atlanta sports. You know what I mean? Because he was a player, you know, he was a one-of-a-kind player, but we had a bunch of other great players, you know, like Ward Dunn, you know, Algie Crumpler, Patrick Kearney, Keith Brookin. You know, we had some really great players on that team. I'm just, you know, I get to thinking like, man, I wish we would have did more, but, you know, hey, you know, all them other 31 teams, they trying to do it too. But, you know, I had a really great time, man.
Yeah. I think, you know, and I said this a while back, that after that 2003 season, when Vic went down with that injury, and we went 5-11 that season, he fired Dan Reeves. And I say this to this day, that that's one of the worst things as an owner he done, was fire Reeves too early. Because you go to that next year, 2004, you know, what was it, 11-5 or 12-4 that year? We were second seed. I know we were second seed because the Eagles had the first seed that year.
Yep, that's right. Yep, so, we was the second seed. Yep.
And I think under the guidance of Reeves, if Reeves would have coached that team and Wade Phillips with that defense, yeah, we would have been in the Super Bowl. That's just my take,
though. Man, Dan Reeves was a one-of-a-kind coach, man. I love Coach Reeves, bro. He drafted me in here, you know. Last time I saw Coach Reeves, man, I just gave him a hug, man. Told him thank you, bro. I ain't say thank you, bro, but, you know, I said, hey, thank you, Coach Reeves. I love you, man, you know. And we talked for a little bit. It was fun to kind of talk with him on the level of not being a player coach anymore. You know what I mean? Because, you know, as a coach, you can only be so much with guys, if that makes sense. You know, you kind of gotta be. You can't be their friend all the way, if that makes sense. You know, so like getting to see him a few years ago, we got a chance to really talk, and you know, I told him that, hey, my mom still appreciates the time that you called her up and, you know, talked to her and told her, you know, that you would take care of me and look out for me, and gave her your number and your wife's number and all that other stuff. If she had any problems, man, like, you know, I was telling somebody the other day, man, if somebody say something crazy about Coach Reed, my mama will punch you in your chin. You know, she's just a mama. You know what I mean? So a coach that call her up and say, hey, man, I'm going to look out for your baby and take care of him while he's in a new city, you know, taking on all this new, I guess you could say, fame or status or whatever that comes with it, you know, that meant a lot to her.
That's what's up.
Oh, yeah.
Coach Reeves, I'm like the Don. I feel the same way. I understood the move at the time, but I didn't like it. And Coach Reeves is still my favorite Falcons coach, you know. But I did understand the move at the time, but, you know, I didn't like it.
Yeah, I mean, it was upsetting to me too, you know, because when they fired Dan, you know, he came in and talked to us, and he got pretty emotional, and, you know, I felt some kind of way about it because, I mean, this was a guy that brought me in, you know, all the other 31 head coaches, you know, passed up on me, and, you know, I had this, you know, coach who I've been seeing since I was a kid, you know, coaching for either the Broncos or the Giants at the time, you know what I'm saying? Hall of Fame coach that decided to bring me in and believed in me. You know, I felt some kind of way, but, you know, it's I guess it was one of the things you had to get over real quick because, you know, once, you know, he was leaving, you know, Wade Phillips was now the interim coach for them last few games. But, you know, I'll always appreciate Dan for what he did for me, man. And they need to get him in the Hall of Fame. I don't know what the holdup is. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. He went to what, 4-5 Super Bowls? I know he didn't get them, but come on now. You get to 4-5 of them, you're doing something right.
Hey, Mark Levy in the Hall of Fame. He should be in the Hall of Fame.
Really? For the Buffalo Bills, they got him in there. They ain't got Coach Reeves. Wow. Okay. Wow, that's crazy. And I know I just saw that they just put Bill Cowher in. I know he's got him one title, but Coach, and all due respect to Coach Cowher, but man, Coach Reeves took how many? 3 different teams to Super Bowls?
And it's tough. It's tough for tight ends in his era to get in as players because tight ends, nobody was giving the ball. Tight ends weren't touching the ball 7-8 times a game back when when he was a player. So it's tough to get in as a player as a tight end. In his era.
Did he play tight end? I thought he played running back. I thought
he played running back too.
They switched him. He was a quarterback. He played running back. He switched to tight end. Yeah, he had bad knee.
Yeah, okay. Well, shoot, Coach Reed could play 3 positions. Good for him, man. Hey, you want to talk about somebody that knows some football, man? He's shout out to Coach Reeves, man. Hey, start a petition. Coach Reeves for the Hall of Fame. It needs to happen.
Get out there, that we'll vouch for that.
Oh yeah.
Let's get one question and then we'll go to the chat while we're talking about your rookie season and coming in with Coach Reeves. What was your welcome to the NFL moment? What was that moment where you got there and either you saw a guy in the locker room or the first time you strapped it up where you was like, hey, it's real now?
Practice a game. It was a couple of welcome to the NFL moments. Which one?
A memorable one that sticks out in your mind.
Okay. Probably my first one was the first day we got to the locker room at Flowery Branch. We walk in there and, when you play ball, most of us come out of college. A lot of us used to be in the biggest, baddest, whatever, coming from where we come from. You know what I'm saying? So you get into the locker room and you see Jamal Anderson, 250-pound running back, you know what I'm saying? And just like, God dang, it's the biggest running back I've ever seen, right? You know what I'm saying? Or even you see Patrick Kearney and you're like, man, this is what we got to play with every day over here? Like, Kearney was like, 275 and he ripped up, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, those were a couple of welcome to NFL moments, and you kind of walk in there and you're just like, wow, boy, these dudes look for real. Like, they ain't playing no games. They take this serious. And so, you kind of like, you in awe for a little bit. But then, once it's time to put your helmet on, hey, you better prove that you can hang out with these boys or else they're going to peace out to you,
Yeah.
So another welcome to the NFL moment was playing my first, playing the first 4 preseason games. You first get to really put on that NFL shield and the uniforms and all that, So, I mean, I had a few of them in the preseason game, but my first one was playing in the 2001 regular season game against Bryant Young in San Francisco. We was up there in 3-Con Park.
Oh, man.
Yeah. See, you already laughing because you know what time it is with BY. That game, I was, again, you know what I'm saying? You think that you this and that when you coming out of college, right? Yeah. And then you go up against somebody that's like 7 years, 8 years playing already. He done made him a couple All-Pros, Pro Bowls or whatever. And so now it's just me and him out there dancing. And so, he hit me with a couple sacks. I think he got the first sack in like their second series. Stadium going crazy, going stupid. And, I messed around and busted my toe in the game. I got a turf toe injury. And so I go in at halftime and I have to get that thing looked at and get some medicine put in it because, it was pretty bad. And it was one of the moments where it was like, hey, yo, you either going to go out there and fight that joke again because you're going to have to see him again. You're going to have to see him again. You either go out there and fight through this injury, or, tuck your tail and stay on in here. And I chose to go out there and fight him again. He got me for another sack in the second half. But, to me, it was just like, man, I'm not running from nobody out here. And I'm not fixing to start with the first game. So when I see him again, he gon' in his head be like, oh, mentally, I got this young boy. You know what I mean? We're not gonna play that game. You know, I mean, I took like Michael Strahan. I heard Michael Strahan say one time, man, take your ass whooping like a man. I took my ass whooping like a man, but I still battled and fought. And, you know, it just taught me, you know, going into the rest of that season, you know, how much more serious level of play that you're in. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really got to stay ahead of your sleep. Make sure you're eating right. Make sure you're studying your tape. You know what I'm saying? And then in the off season, when you go hit them weights, now you got to dig deeper because you know what's out there. You got to run a little bit harder because you know what's out there. Because I was like, man, I got to see him again. And, you know, when I see him again, I'm going to be ready for him.
We appreciate it.
So how I know you said BY. How was it playing against Warren Sapp?
Playing against Sapp, man, that was it was a little nervous. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know, the night before I couldn't hardly sleep a little bit, you know. And I prepared, you know, I'd been preparing like all off season, all summer, all week up until that point. But it's nothing like until you get in that game and you see 99 out there and he woofing and, you know, a lot of what he do, he gonna try and talk and get in your head, especially if he get going, you know. You know, he try to get into your head, he running his mouth. So, I mean, you just gotta, you know, constantly, you know, every play, just go out and do your best. You know, hey, one snap and clear. You know, you do good job. Go to the next one. You do bad, okay, fix it. Next play. So, you know, it's a little bit nervous. I was nervous playing against him, no lie. You know, the whole defense, because that whole defense, you know, the year we started playing them in the NFC South, that's the year they went to the Super Bowl. Yep. You know, and I mean, they was out there biting.
They don't take no prisoners at all.
Oh, man.
Now I'm gonna go ahead and jump to the 2004 season. But before we talk about that season, when Moore came in, I want to bring up the NFC Championship game that we lost.
Okay. All right.
Now, I know you remember this play that I'm about to bring up. All right. Vic, it was third down. All right.
Okay.
The yardage or whatever. Vic was dancing in the backfield, tried to run for a first down, and out of nowhere, Hollis Thomas, you know who Hollis Thomas is, came out of nowhere and just ripped Vic. Now, in your mind, what was going on during that play? If you can remember.
I don't really remember that play. You said it was Hollis Thomas, man. I thought you was finna bring up the one where who was that? Where Derek Burgess got the sack. I thought you was about to bring that one up. I don't remember the Hollis Thomas joint. Did Hollis even get a sack then?
No, he didn't get a sack, but he put. Oh man, I thought Vic was like tore up after that play, man.
Man, they got after Vic that day, bro. Yeah, I don't remember that play, but man, they had him dancing all day though.
Brian Dawkins almost killed him too.
Man, Dawk almost killed a couple people, man. He almost killed my boy Crump, man.
Oh yeah.
Hey, he struck my boy Crump, but Crump got up though. You know what I'm saying? Hey, but you know what's funny, man? Crump don't remember that play to this day. Man,
oh, man.
Hey, I always mess with it too, because when they showed it or whatever, I guess they had that football life for Dawkins. And I recorded, I said at the cross, hey, Crump, man, hey, he got you, but you got back up, though. He said, man, I don't even remember that happening. I said, I remember
that because Vic came over there and stopped him on his behind and said, you all right, man, come on, dust it off. I remember that.
Man. Hey, man, but that's Dog, though, man. Dog got a whole bunch of people slipping like that out there, man.
Yeah.
Let's go into chat. Chat is going insane right now. And why we only got 10 people watching? Like this, we got a Falcons Legend on here, man. We supposed to have at least 100 people watching. Y'all come on in here and engage. Like what other show that y'all know that got that has a Falcons Legend, a person that played in the league?
What you say? There's 10 of them.
Only 10.
Oh man, come on, 10. Tell 10 more friends.
Exactly. Go ahead, Coach.
We we had an argument breakout in the chat, but we got Mad Mike. Thanks for joining us. Our big brother in this. He definitely wants you to he definitely wants to get you on his show as well, Kenan. He does, like I said, he's our big brother in this. He does this, has way more subs than I do. We're gonna get Chirs Lindstrom question, Mike. JF's joining us. King Kale's in here. Thank you. Tony and Mad Mike had a nice discussion breakout.
Was a discussion or a fight?
It was discussion on Michael Thomas, the receiver. I say he's not a top 5 receiver, and other people say he's not a top 5 receiver, and he think that he is. But
we had an interesting question, a quick question. Kicking the Crowder said, best quarterback that you blocked for besides Mike Vick.
Besides Mike Vick, professional or any level?
He didn't specify.
He didn't specify. So let me go ahead and say, I will say this, man. Chris Chandler was a good quarterback for us here in Atlanta, and I'll tell you why. Chris Chandler was an older guy, but Chris Chandler was very savvy. Meaning the fact that we could be in the huddle. I remember specifically being a rookie, being in that huddle. And, Chris Chandler know the offense, backwards, forwards, all that. And Chris Chandler would be on one knee getting the play and telling everybody to play and telling everybody, talking about T-Matt, hey, T-Matt, you got the dig. Hey, Finn, you got the curl. And then he look at me, hey, young fella, it's on 2. Make sure you don't jump because I'm going to hold it because I want to see what the defense going to do. You know what I mean? And then he kind of just directing traffic and then get up to the line of scrimmage, So, I mean, Chris Chandler had, he was very savvy, very mentally in tune with the game and the game plan. So, I would say he was he was somebody that really impressed me. One of my favorite quarterbacks to ever play for besides Vic, though, might have been a guy I played with in junior college named Terrence Bennett. He was really good. To me, he was Michael Vick before anybody knew who Michael Vick was. Shout out to TB. He went to Jack Yates High School in Houston, Texas. But he helped us win a national championship down at Trinity Valley in '97. TB was the man.
I'm glad you said that about Chris Chandler because not even just about Chris Chandler, about and a lot of people like shiny nickels. A lot of people like a lot of athletes, but I'm always substance over athleticism. You always need some high football IQ people, and I already knew Chris Chandler. He wasn't an athletic person, but his IQ was up there on another level. Vic, not so much. Vic is just he relied solely on his athleticism to make plays.
Man, Mike relied a lot on his athleticism, because I believe, he knew the game. It's just, I'm pretty sure y'all have seen a lot of the interviews he comes out with lately, and he was just relying on his athleticism and his playmaking ability to do it. Because, I mean, he went up to Philly and showed what he could do with that arm when he really takes it serious and, gets in that playbook and is really trying to, hone in on what the defense is trying to do to you as an offense and how you can attack them. I mean, he was always very smart. I think a lot of people, try to take that away from him, just because, his priorities might have been a little misaligned when he was here in Atlanta, but he knew the stuff. It's just, hey, when you can run a 4-2 and, you're the face of the league and you can pretty much do what you want to do. I mean, y'all seen how it was on Madden 2004. Come on now. If you're able to do all that, why not do it? Let's just say it like that.
Yeah, I feel you. All right. Cynical Peach, we appreciate you joining. And JF, I ain't see if I shouted you out, but we appreciate you, JF. We see you too. And we see y'all questions. A couple of questions y'all putting in there we already have scheduled to ask him anyway, so we're going to pretty much get to them.
So we talked about Dan Reeves. So the transition from Dan Reeves to Jim Moore. How was Jim Moore compared to Dan Reeves?
Man, Jim was cool, man. Jim came in and brought that youthful energy, because we had a young team. He brought that youthful energy. Jim was kind of like the cool uncle. You know what I mean? He come in, he full of life. He got everybody, got practice started, got it going, had the music going, he got everybody running from each drill to the next, I guess with the difference between him and Dan was, with Dan, you might be talking about some foolishness with your boy in the locker, room, you know what I'm saying? And Dan come through there and you're gonna stop all that, right?
Yeah.
Coach Moore, with Dan, Coach, Dan come through there, you're gonna straighten up a little bit, whether you're in the locker room or standing in the facility or whatever, Coach Moore come through, Coach Moore join in with you a little bit. You know what I mean? He was a little bit more, I guess, like I said, he was like the cool uncle. He come in and not like he was getting all the way with the ratchetness like we was a little bit, but, he come over there, he could be more a little, not personable, but, he could, he was about closer to our age, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the age difference probably had him a little bit more in touch what was going on.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But that's not to sit up and say that Dan wasn't in touch. Dan was cool too. It's just different levels of it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right. And now we saw a story last week with the Falcons Holla. You training Chirs Lindstrom. How you think he's? I hope we have a season. We better have a season. How you think he's gonna perform his sophomore season?
I expect him to make a significant jump, man. That's what's supposed to happen with any rookie. Your first year, you coming in, and you got to think anyways. It's a long year for them kids because they done finished up their season probably in December, January. Prior to that, probably done went to an all-star game, getting ready for the combine, training, workouts, meetings, flying all over to go see teams. Then the draft. Then they got to come in and mini camp it and OTA it, and then got to go through training camp and then preseason. And it's a lot. It's a lot for that first year. You start hitting that wall about mid-season, because a lot of them kids, they're used to playing 10, maybe 12 games, college football season. So now they get to about 12 and it's like, no, you got about 4 potentially playoff games more to go. That's a long year. But during that year, you kind of, I guess you develop your lungs, so to speak. It's like, them fish or whatever, or what is it? Not the fish, but them frogs. You know what I mean? They underwater or whatever, and now they get out and you learn what it is, so to speak. You learn, okay, you got to kind of pace yourself a little bit during this season. You got to learn how to take care of yourself. And so I think getting that year of doing all that under his belt, that's going to make him a better player, And I just think back to my own experience, thinking about how long of a season it was, but also too just learning how to fight, every game once you start getting mentally tired or physically tired, trying to find that motivation, trying to find that juice that you need so you can go out there and finish, because you don't want to look like no fool on tape for nobody, You don't want to be nobody's sucker out there on the field, So a lot of personal pride kicks in and you get to where you just go out and you learn how to battle. And also, too, you learn that you can't take nobody lightly each week. It's not like college football where you'll play, a top ranked school. Now, all of a sudden, you play in a lower ranked school and you got you a week off. No, bro, it ain't like that. Every week, you're going to go against somebody that was the biggest and baddest at their collegiate level. And it could be somebody from the SEC, ACC, Pac-12, WAC, wherever they coming from. And they all got a certain hunger and they gonna bring it to you. So you gotta match that intensity, if you know what I'm saying. And hopefully, Chirs went through those learning lessons, growing pains last year. And this year, now he knows what to do. So right now I'm just working with him on, helping him out with a little bit of technique, but also too showing him some different little tricks that he can learn to get away and buy himself some time when somebody beats you, because you're going against the best. Those guys are getting paid across from you. You're going to need you a couple tricks just to, buy yourself some time in pass protection or, in the run game. Hey, I'm going to shorten up my footwork and do it to this style of defensive lineman, because he might be a bigger 2-gap defender as opposed to a shorter, more explosive Aaron Donald type of defender. There's different little tricks that you've got to learn and techniques you got to adjust to when you're playing against different players like that. And right now, we're just working on a few of those things. And, that right guard position, that's near and dear to my heart. I used to wear the crown with that. So now, it's kind of like, the old line, I'm sitting back in the pasture, enjoying the fruits of my labors. And I want to pass it off to the young line, pay it forward because someone did it for me. Bob Whitfield did it for me when I came to Atlanta. Big Bob, shout out to Big Bob. Steve Wallace of the 49ers. I don't know if people remember him. Steve Wallace did it for me. He 3-time, 4-time Super Bowl winning champ, man. That's my guy from over at, what was it, Dunwoody High School, I believe he went to, or Chamblee. I can't remember. I hope I'm not saying it wrong, but those guys, they did it for me. Took time out of their schedules to show me run steps, to show me pass pro techniques, because your coach can, coaches can show you stuff all day, but it's a little bit different when you're getting it from a player's perspective, because now they can be like, hey, look here, I wouldn't try that technique versus this type of player, because when I went against a guy who's like that, he did this to me. I would try this. And you kind of like, y'all talking that same talk. Yeah. You're talking that same language. So being able to learn from guys like that, it helped me out in my career and allowed me to, keep playing, keep making some more money, keep making a name for myself, and being able to go down as one of the better guards in Atlanta Falcons history. So now I want to push all that off and give it to young Chris. So hopefully he can be the best guard in Atlanta Falcons history. So we can get us an offensive lineman in the Pro Bowl, because we need one in there. I mean, not in the Pro Bowl, well, the Pro Bowl too, but also the Hall of Fame. Mike Ken should be in the Hall of Fame. How the hell you play 17 years, only give up 1.5, 2 sacks yearly, playing against the dogs like LT and Richard Dents out there? You know what I'm saying? And you're not in the Hall of Fame. Played in over 290 games, I believe. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. So hopefully what I can give. Say what now?
Him and Jesse Tuggle.
Him and Jesse. Yeah, come on now. Hammer, man, come on. But just the fact that, man, Mike Ken is one of the best offensive linemen out there. And he was playing during the era where, the Falcons didn't do so well. So, he kind of gets lost in time. But, that's another.
He played with Van Note, too, didn't he?
Playing with Van Note and played with R.C. Thielman, another great offensive lineman. Bill Fralick, another great offensive lineman for the Falcons. William Andrews, a great back for the Falcons. Come on now, we can go down the list. Like, hey, Atlanta Falcons are my favorite team, so I know the history of them. You feel me? I might not know them as good as y'all, anybody else, but I know the history of the team, and getting to meet some of these guys, that's a pleasure for me. Getting to talk with them. But man, Mike Ken, let's start a petition. Mike Ken for the Hall of Fame, man.
But you know what though? Yeah, I want the Hall of Fame, but you know what? We need a ring, man. We need
that too.
And this is going back. This is going to the next topic. You won't win championships unless you have a good offensive line and a good defensive line. Matt Ryan is one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. He's going to go down as like one of the best quarterbacks in the league ever to play the game.
As he should.
You can agree.
As he should. Yes, sir.
This team is not going to get anywhere unless we shore up the trenches. And I'm glad last year that we drafted Lindstrom and McGarry. And then this year, we drafted Matt Hennessy. Have you heard anything from Matt Hennessy? Did he ever reached out to you? You reached out to him?
I haven't met him yet, but who knows? If I'm gonna keep working with Chris. We just had a session yesterday. We was working on some things. Hopefully, Chris will be able to, tell whoever he knows, hey, look here, man, I went and learned some really good stuff from this OG, and I'm willing to pass it off to them because. Come on, now. OG, offensive guard, original gangster, however you want to look at it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But, double OG, triple OG, all that. Man, I want to do whatever I can to help that offensive line unit be the best that they can be. Because, man, we got some talent. Look at them. We got Matthews at left tackle. I'm trying to think, is it going to be Jamon Brown to pay the left guard? I'm not sure. I think they got 2 guys for that spot. Brown and Carpenter, James Carpenter. Yeah, so hopefully one of those guys will step up and grab that job by the throat. And then you got Alex Mack, who's a all-decade for us or whatever. One of PFF's best players last year. Right guard, Lindstrom, right tackle, McGarry. You know what? It's what 4 first-round picks on that offensive line. We got some talent.
You got 5 if you count Carpenter.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that. Man, hey, we got the talent. We got the talent. We got the quarterback to do it. You know, I think Atlanta needs to just get behind Matt Ryan. You know, stop all this hating on him, talking down on him. You know, I don't like that because Matt Ryan is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He was just the MVP a couple years ago. You know, like, come on now. Like, I mean, I think he gets a lot of undue criticism just because he's getting that big contract, but he deserves that big contract.
It's not even just a contract. It ain't even just it's not even the contract. It's not even just a contract. It's because he's not Vic. Let's just be real, because a lot of fans became fans when Vic was here. All right, and when Vic left, they stayed around, and then they seen Matt Ryan walk through the door, and they just never respected this man. Oh, he got weapons. That's why he good. Okay, well, here's the thing. You remember that you was on the team. Didn't they draft Roddy White and Michael Jenkins for Vic?
Yeah, they were young. They were, in that young trying to develop process. I mean, they finally came around and they did their thing, Shout out to Roddy and Mike Jink, you know what I'm saying? They became weapons for Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Really great weapons for him.
Every great quarterback had weapons. That's the dumbest argument ever.
Right.
Only Matt gets that hate. Nobody's saying that about Troy Aikman. Nobody's saying that about Joe Montana. So only Matt gets that hate. Like, that's ridiculous.
The biggest weapon in the recipe to win, you got to have a line. You don't have a line, you're not. The ball is not going to the receivers. You go end up throwing a pick. You go either throw a pick, strip fumble, or you getting knocked on your behind. That's it.
Right. And then you're gonna be taking a lot of shots, a lot of punishment.
And then a strong defense that gets you an extra couple possessions per game anyway.
Right. Never score you some points.
Nothing like exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of like Tampa Bay's defense back in the day. You know what I mean? That's they offense had their moments where they were struggling earlier on until they could kind of, get where they needed to go with John Gruden first taking over. The defense was scoring, creating turnovers, or they were scoring themselves. I think they scored like maybe I don't even want to quote what it was, but when your defense can score, that helps you out a lot too.
Yeah, they won a Super Bowl with Brad Johnson.
Yeah.
Ray Lewis went to Dilfer and said, man, 17. If you can get us to 17, we'll win. Just get 17, because we'll hold the teams under 17. You get to 17, we'll get out of here with a W.
Man, I'm telling you, and I played against both of those. Well, I didn't play against that Super Bowl winning defense, but I played against Ray and them in that defense, where maybe they had a couple interchangeable parts, and played against Tampa when they had that defense with Sapp up front, Simeon Rice on the other side, Booger also, Booger from Monday Night Football playing that middle too, or Greg Spires playing the end, man, and Derek Brooks and Sheldon Quarles on, with the linebackers. And who else? Who was the corners in? Rondé Barber and Brian Kelly.
John Lynch. All them.
Yeah, I played against that defense, man. It can be it's nervous, man, because them jokers, they out there biting, boy.
Forgot about Simeon Rice. Man, I forgot about Simeon Rice.
Yeah, Simeon Rice was a dog, man. They had a defense, bro. Like playing against them defenses, man, it's one of them weeks. As soon as you get out of that game from the previous Sunday, you already thinking about them, so you staying ahead of your rest. Hey, I'm going to sleep tonight after this game. Ain't no celebrating. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to eat right. And I'm in there trying to get my body right Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because, that next Sunday, boy, hey, they come into town and they ain't taking no prisoners, man. They going to be out there talking shit, and they bringing it to you. It's going to be one of them games afterwards. You're going to be sore as hell. So you got to get ready early for it.
But before we wrap up and go through the chat one final time, I want to ask you just an off the wall question. That's something I just noticed been on social media the past couple of days with the NFL announcing about the jersey swap. How do you personally feel about the jersey swap after the game?
I mean, come on now. I feel like I see it the way everybody else do. Them jokers been out there hitting each other, grabbing each other, pulling each other, and now all of a sudden you can't swap the jerseys. Like, bruh, if they was gonna catch it at any time they was gonna catch it before the dang jersey swap. But hey,
well, I more mean the competition side because I'm one of the people like some people think that you're supposed to hate your opponent. Why you swapping jerseys? You're supposed to be mad at those guys. I'm a guy that I don't feel like that.
That
personally.
old school mentality. Yeah, I got you.
I don't feel like that. I know guys have the same agent. Guys work out together. Guys know each other from high school and college. But just your personal feelings. How do you feel?
Man, you know what? I'm trying to think, man. Like back during my time, man. You might catch you a picture with some guys that you battle against, or guys that that you played with in college or high school from the other squad. But I guess we didn't think about that jersey swap thing back then. We was just kind of like, hey man, let me get one of them jerseys, and buddy'd be like, all right, I got you. And next thing you know, next week you get in the FedEx or something, right? We didn't do it right there on the field, but hey, good for them. They getting the battle worn jersey, getting it signed, and get a picture, and later on, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is down the road for them, they can look at that picture and show it to their kids, kind of like what I do with my kids. I got all kind of 8x10s and pictures around here that I be showing my kids. Like, yeah, man, that's when I played against Corey Simon after, the NFC Championship game, or that's when, Magic Johnson came to practice one day. Those things are memories. You feel me? And, they make an old man feel good as you get older right now. You feel me? And, I tell them, hey, if that's what they thought of and they can do it now, go on ahead and do it. But, me personally, back then, it might have been some guys I wasn't trying to get that close to, just because, me and you, we going to have to do this dance all the time. Exactly. Like for example, like Boog and McFarland, like me and Boog would see each other before the game. I had a lot of respect for Booger, but I wasn't trying to get too close with him because, man, I'm going to have to do some real dirty stuff with you here in a little bit. Like, we would see each other before the game warming up, and I see him and kind of like that, and he give me that, and I'll see you in about 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you know what I'm saying? And so after the game, after however it went, however the game went, whoever played good, whoever played bad, we see each other, dap each other up. All right, you know what it is. See you the next time, dog. But then I'd see him in the offseason maybe somewhere, and, we'd be kind of talking and stuff like that. But it's just during that moment in the arena, we just knew we was going to have to get that way with each other. So, hey, we ain't going to get too close like that, to be all kiki, I need to have some kind of personal animosity towards you. I need to have something against you. Todd McClure, my center back then, he always knew what to say to get me going a little bit. He come back in because, him and Booger was teammates at LSU. Yeah. So, McClure would come in and be like, hey, man, Booger said, man, hey, watch out with that bullshit today. You know what I'm saying? He said, hey, he said just some stuff because he knew I ain't like nobody talking mess about me. Yeah. And I look at him, I'd be like, hey, McClure, man, did he say that for real? He'd be like, yeah, man, he said that, man. He said, man, he gonna get in your ass today. Now, deep down inside, I knew he was lying most of the time. But I needed that just to give myself a little bit extra because, hey, Booger ain't playing and I got to come with it today.
That's what's up. Don, I made a mistake and knocked my chat out. That's what I had made a mistake. Did we get anything good, interested in the chat?
Looking through Travis, he joined the chat.
What's up, Trav?
He pretty much agreeing everything with Forney saying. And man, that's about it right there. Yeah, ain't nobody really said anything. And one more thing before you leave, talk about your Dash O-line performance. That's up in Gwinnett County, right?
Yes, sir. We've been Dash Performance is run by William and Alicia Lee, two great young Black business owners. They're doing a great job for the community there. They got a lot of kids from the different Gwinnett County schools and outside areas that come in, train, and work out. DASH is an acronym for Developing Athletes Starts Here. It's off of North Lake Parkway, Lawrenceville, behind the new Papados over there. I started working there a few years ago because I met Coach Lee over at Brookwood High School. I was coaching football over there, and he wanted to get his training. He had a training business already, but they just got the building, and so he asked me would I like to train O-linemen there, and I told him yeah. And so it ended up happening. A couple kids from the school, they were young linemen, and they came up to me and was asking me, hey, they wanted some help. They wanted to get some extra work. And me, I'm one of those types of people. Hey, if you're willing to put in that extra work to get whatever goal it is for you, they were getting ready to be sophomores. They were sophomores at the time. And so I was like, hey, whatever y'all want to do, I'm willing to help you, because if I had a pro at my school, that played the same position as I did back in high school, I'd have been hitting him up too. And I'd have hoped that he would have been receptive to, teaching me, showing me what it is to play O-line, the fundamentals from beginning to end. And so they came at me and did that 3 years ago. And I'm proud to say, man, those kids, Sean Hill, he's going to NC State now. Aiden Perkins is going to Army now. Quincy Jenkins is going to Campbell. Cam Kenny is going to University of Georgia. Those were kids that I originally started off with. And I'm just glad to have, given them what I could give them so they could get to where they needed to get to. I'm extremely proud of those kids. And ever since then, I've got some more, coming in. I've been blessed to, I got some NFL guys coming through now. Word of mouth gets around. People know I know what I'm talking about. I know this game. I know what it is, when you step between them lines. A lot of guys can tell you, what they think or what they heard, but I'm going to tell you what it is I've experienced. I'm an O-line guy. I'm sitting in my office here now. I could show you all these old VHS tapes over here in the corner, tapes that I've collected throughout the years from when I played. Like I can show a kid old Trey Thomas film from the Eagles or old, Walter Jones film from the Seattle Seahawks, or I can show you some Larry Allen tapes. You know what I mean? Like I'm O-line through and through. I love it, and I love teaching it. Over there? Got some Steve Hutchinson too for Seattle or Minnesota, whichever one you want. I even got some of my stuff. I got, I watch O-linemen because all O-linemen have different styles to them. And I teach a certain style. I teach the style that works and is effective. So if you're a young O-lineman and you want to get that work, come holler at your boy. I'm on Twitter, K4065, or on Instagram, F65 Performance. If you're willing to do more than what's required, I'm willing to help you do it. And I'm gonna teach you the right way. I'm not teaching you no mess.
That's what's up.
I need you to come to Stevenson, man.
Oh yeah, man, Stevenson, y'all be having them ballers out there, man.
I'm messing with you, man. I'm not a Stevenson supporter. I'm just messing with Coach.
But you already know him. Hit him up anyway. So yeah, he already know him. Yeah. So yeah, he already know.
Oh yeah.
We appreciate you joining us, man. Super personable. Man, that's like I said, you gave the people exactly what they want to hear. They want to hear it from the horse's mouth, the real, and nothing you unfiltered, nothing you can do to beat that.
Oh yeah, man. Sorry I let a couple curse words slip. I get excited and let some stuff come out, but hey, forgive me.
You good, man. You good.
Yeah.
Hey, you're a Falcons legend, man. You allowed to, to do it.
So what we got coming up, Don?
We'll have another show this Sunday. We'll promote it on social media, who we're gonna bring on and what we're gonna talk about. Just keep a lookout on it. Thank you, Forney, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it, man. We really do. Anything else you want to plug before we end the stream?
Man, just want to thank God for putting me in this position, man. I want to shout out my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, man, for putting me in this position to be able to still be relevant out here, to do good work in the community, to do appearances for the Falcons and go do other community work for them, to help out these kids in these schools. You know what I'm saying? Like I take so much pride and so much responsibility. So, thank God for choosing me and giving me that platform to do it, man. And hey, young O-lineman, come see me, F65 Performance on Instagram or K4065. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing out there.
All right. Well, appreciate you coming on. If you're new to the channel, and everybody that's in the stream and in the live chat, appreciate y'all joining us tonight. If you're new to the channel, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. All right, the channel will grow if you support us. It's free. You ain't got to put a dime into it. Only thing you got to do, hit that subscribe button. Hey, and just come visit us sometime when we do our shows every week. Also, share this content out with other Atlanta sports fanatics. Hit that like button and hit us up in the comment section. We do answer your questions, comments, and concerns in the chat in the comment section. As always,
come holla
at your hometown sports podcast. And on that note, we out. Y'all have a great evening.